Tonight from Nova Scotia, life in the wake of Dorian.
It's a small place and this stuff happens.
No power, no cell service, no idea when they'll be out of the dark.
Also tonight, Brexit mayhem. And a colorful character plans his exit.
I'm never gonna get tired of holding this thing.
Bianca Andreescu gets the star treatment. And pipeline politics.
You went so far as to get arrested. You protested and were arrested.
Rosemary is in British Columbia, a looming battleground for a polarizing issue. This is The National. After Hurricane Dorian, tens of thousands in Nova Scotia remain in the dark. Just one challenge for a province that took a direct hit from the storm. The National is in Halifax once again tonight because, Adrian, it's not over for people there.
Andrew, it certainly isn't. The wounds of Dorian are everywhere here. So are the technicians rushing to patch them up. This is the city's south end. That stump back there, that was a tree shattered off by the storm. Countless downed trees like this need to be cut, they need to be cleared, and the lines they took down need to be repaired. That is a painstaking process. But 2 days after the storm hit, there is a fair amount of progress. Electrical crews from across Canada and also Maine, even Florida, are working feverishly. They're backed up by hundreds of soldiers trading rifles for chainsaws.
I heard a noise. I saw this tank come around to the corner and I thought, what's this?
142,000 customers at last count are still without electricity. That is down from a peak of 400,000. Still, some are expected to be in a blackout condition for days. Others are still dealing with lost homes. This entire apartment complex was evacuated, the roof ripped away.
We had 5 minutes to pack stuff, get out.
And it was raining just as hard in the lobby as it was outside. They were loading up buses to go up to Canada Games.
The Canada Games Recreation Centre converted to a temporary home for dozens.
People are helpful and they are asking for whatever help they could give.
Help like this is more abundant in a big city. Other places in Dorian's path, not so lucky. You don't actually need to go terribly far outside the city to find people who are dealing with a double challenge. That's devastation and isolation. Alison Northcott was east of Halifax in Sheet Harbour. Dorian went right through there on its way north and blew the community back a century. No power, no phones, just hope.
The ceiling here is ready to come down. The walls there are all buckled.
Inside Robert Josie's Sheet Harbour home, Dorian left a soggy mess.
It's sickening, is what it is.
Outside, a tarp covers the hole where his roof blew off.
And I come home and sure enough, the roof was gone and the water's come through the house everywhere.
What was your reaction when you saw that?
Sit and cry, but what else can you do, you know? Like this, it's an old house, it was my grandparents' home. And this house over 90 years old. Now what they're gonna do, I got no idea. Like the water was dripping out of the light. And
he and others here say they've been without power, cell service, and stable internet since Saturday. Some gas stations and other businesses remain closed. The hospital is running on a generator while workers clear away broken trees, power lines, and poles. The military was also on the ground today, ready to help.
How bad would you say it is across Sheet Harbour?
It's pretty bad. Pretty bad. We'll survive, but it's going to take quite a while.
Ralph LeBlanc owns a local motel. With no power and several freezers full of food, he says he's facing thousands of dollars in losses.
That's what you have. See them melting?
He says other residents and business owners are facing similar situations.
When something like that is given to you, you cope. You don't have to like it. You put up with it.
Robert Josie says he's thankful for friends and neighbors in Sheet Harbour who rushed to help protect his home from further damage.
they can't do enough for you. I'm telling you, it's amazing.
He'll be relying on that support in the months ahead as he tries to get life back to normal. Alison Northcott, CBC News, Sheet Harbour, Nova Scotia.
What's happening in Sheet Harbour is happening in pockets elsewhere. Lots of Nova Scotians discovered they have been one big storm away from being knocked off the grid. You never know what you've got until it's gone, and in this era, when it's cell phone service that goes, stand back for the blast.
To tell you the truth, it was a crap. Really, I mean, you know, we pay for all this stuff and we got no backup.
Obviously, the cell phone companies need to look at their infrastructure and see how to improve it so that they don't have this this delay in service when emergencies happen.
When Dorian huffed its way through Atlantic Canada and those downed trees then downed the power lines, cell towers lost power too. How hard could it be to fix that? Harder than you might think.
We're heading to our Vaughan cell site.
In the middle of his 14-hour day, Rogers technician Jerry DeVoe offered a look. His destination, a dark tower and dead backup batteries. Only possible fix, a generator and fuel to give the batteries a 24-hour boost.
Right now, if we didn't have any power for the rest of the week, if that's the case, we would come and continuously top up the generator.
That doesn't seem overly efficient.
Until Nova Scotia Power gets the power back, that's what we have.
But are there any solar batteries anywhere along this series of cell towers?
It probably wouldn't generate enough power to actually keep everything going and keep the batteries topped up. The other part is that solar panels are susceptible to ice falling off the tower.
So this is how it has to be, and yes, there will always be surprises.
Okay, that's interesting.
The connector is wet. The water dripping out of it means another delay.
A small complication.
So you can see where the time is lost, and when the system fully comes back online, the process has to be methodical.
So we have to do it in a sequential order.
So like in a relay system?
Yes.
More waiting, more fiddling, an hour plus at the tower before it has temporary power again. For the people who live around here, what would be the effect of turning this on?
You could dial 911.
In a world hungry for quick fixes, this is not one of them. So hurricane force winds have a way of exposing weaknesses, and in Halifax, beyond power and cell service, there is a single point of failure that has eyes looking up uneasily. This crane came crashing down in the storm. Now it's draped over another unfinished building hanging by a single bolt. Several properties around the crane have been evacuated. The roughly 20 other cranes in the city weathered the winds without incident, raising some questions. So CBC spoke with the property owner that hired that crane.
Our contractor, lead contracting, did take all the precautions necessary for the crane to stand the speed, the storm that we were expecting. And that was confirmed by everybody.
The crane and its handling are now the subject of a provincial Department of Labor investigation. School here was canceled today. It's canceled again tomorrow. Normal, not quite just around the corner, not yet. And with that, we will send it back to you, Andrew, in Toronto.
Okay, now let's go right across the country to the West Coast, where we want to get the lay of the land of a fierce political battleground. Rosie, I lived in Vancouver for 5 years. I know it can look nice and peaceful, but looks can be deceiving.
Yeah, especially when it comes to politics, Andrew. There's a pitched battle here going on to try and represent this part of BC, a province that is going to play a crucial role in the upcoming election. I'm here in the idyllic village of Deep Cove. It's just about 25 minutes from downtown Vancouver. And people here have a deep attachment to the coastal mountains, the ocean waters, and that's precisely why the federal seat here is just so hotly contested.
This is a pipeline in the national interest, and it will get built.
For 4 years, Justin Trudeau cast himself as a champion of both economic growth and environmental protection. How voters judge his balancing act could decide whether the Liberals can hold on to this province.
No Kinder Morgan! No Kinder Morgan!
Later, you'll get a taste of the voter anger in this riding, right where the pipeline meets the sea. But first, the Green Party sees BC as fertile ground for new seats. They've held the balance of power in the legislature for more than 2 years. And in May, their second ever MP won his seat in a by-election. Today, though, their leader, Elizabeth May, got caught up in the abortion issue. Her views made news because of an interview that she gave to Vashi Kapelas, the host of Power and Politics. Vashi shows us how the Greens are now grappling with this thorny issue.
Elizabeth May's personal view on abortion is clear. A woman has a right to a safe legal abortion. I've never wavered in that position since I was like 8 years old.
But May won't stop Green Party politicians from reopening a debate on the subject in Parliament.
So I could talk to them, I could try to dissuade them, I could say it would be unfortunate, but I don't have the power of leader of the Green Party to whip votes, nor do I have the power to silence an MP. And frankly, I think that's a good thing, because democracy will be healthier when constituents know that their MP works for them and not for the party leader.
So you would not ban the introduction of any type of bill, even if it does reopen a debate on a socially controversial issue?
Under our values as Greens and under the powers I have as leader, I don't have the power to do that.
May was unequivocal there, but hours after CBC News published an article based on her comments, May's party issued a statement correcting course, hoping not to dissuade progressive voters they need. Although the leader does not have the power to whip votes, all Green Party members of Parliament must endorse the Green Party's values, including a firm support of a woman's right to choose. There is zero chance an elected representative of our party will ever reopen the abortion debate. If it all sounds familiar, it's because it is. Conservative leader Andrew Scheer faced the same questions a few weeks ago after the Liberals tweeted out a 2005 video of Scheer voicing his opposition to same-sex marriage.
They cannot, therefore, be married.
On his personal views, Scheer wasn't forthcoming.
This issue was settled in 2005. The Parliament had a vote. Canadians had their say in 2 elections. It's a question of, as Prime Minister, I will ensure the equality of rights of all LGBT Canadians.
If you're keeping track, every major party has promised not to reopen the debate on abortion or same-sex marriage. But Scheer's difficulty answering those questions and May's late-in-the-day course correction both underscore navigating social issues won't be easy for party leaders in this campaign.
Okay, Vashi, when you were doing that interview with the Green Party leader, I'm very interested to know whether Elizabeth May seemed to understand what might be the potential fallout of those comments.
Not really, Rosie. I mean, when the interview was conducted early last week, she made those comments. Like I said, she was pretty unequivocal about her own position, about the party's position, about allowing Green Party MPs to come forward and reopen that debate if they desired, though she'd try and dissuade them. And she expressed no regret over those comments, didn't seem to think that there would be any kind of backlash. On the other hand, when I asked her who her personal hero was, she said Jesus Christ and immediately regretted those comments. She said sorry. She said politicians shouldn't wear the religion on their sleeve and that she was worried about her staff perhaps getting mad at her about those comments. So in that context, she definitely understood there could be backlash. However, on the subject of abortion, her position, her party's position, she had no idea that it would be making any hay. Rosie?
Okay. Vashi Kapelis, the host of Power and Politics. Thanks for this tonight. Appreciate it. Later on the National, we will have more election coverage from here in Battleground, BC. In 2015, this riding, Burnaby North Seymour, went Liberal by a healthy margin, really. But that, of course, was before the government bought a pipeline.
I feel incredibly betrayed by the Liberal Party.
Terry Beach has a big fight on his hands as he seeks a second mandate, even though he's defied his party to reflect the will of the people here.
It's not the first time that I voted against the party.
Beach still has supporters, but will they be enough when emotions are running so high?
I don't feel that he's representing us at all.
From a candidate under pressure, how he thinks he might pull it off. I'll be back with that story a little bit later on the National, but first let's go back to Andrew in Toronto.
Well, angry shouting echoed the halls of Britain's Parliament tonight, where MPs were still sitting after 1 a.m. there. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has lost another vote for a snap election over Brexit, but he is suspending Parliament. The CBC's Cameron McIntosh has more on a busy, dramatic day for Johnson that started in Ireland.
Good morning, everyone. Hi.
Signing the Irish Prime Minister's guest book, it turns out on the page, next to a friend.
Donald Trump.
British Prime Minister Boris Johnson in Dublin, looking for a better week than last.
I want to find a deal. I want to get a deal.
With a clear change in tone. No, not backing away from a no-deal Brexit, but urging negotiations to avoid it.
The UK could certainly get through it, but be in no doubt that outcome would be a failure of statecraft for which we would all be responsible.
Ireland's border is the issue. Johnson wants to renegotiate an agreement to keep it barrier-free by keeping Northern Ireland tied to the EU. It's a hard no from the Irish Prime Minister.
No backstop is no deal for us.
There's the impasse. Today, Parliament put Johnson in a corner, with a law requiring him to ask for a Brexit extension. Johnson is refusing, as 10 Downing is said to be looking for ways around it, including asking the EU to just ignore the request. And now, with 52 days until Brexit, Parliament is suspended. Johnson is proroguing it for 5 weeks.
I think it's disgraceful. Parliament should be sitting and Parliament should be holding the government to account. And the Prime Minister appears to be wanting to run away.
In Parliament's closing hours, another headache for Johnson.
The noes to the left, 302.
The opposition won the public release of internal no-deal Brexit documents, while Johnson's attempt to circumvent all of this by again trying to call a snap election failed.
The majority does not satisfy the requirements of the Fixed-Term Parliaments Act.
As Brexit now hinges on Johnson either getting a deal or getting around the law. Cameron McIntosh, CBC News, London.
And there was one more note of drama in the House today. Longtime Speaker of the House, John Bercow, announced he will be stepping down.
Order!
And give the man this, he's paid his dues. He spent a decade in the role. Best known, of course, for doing his darndest to maintain...
Order! Order! Very rude for members. Order!
If the Honourable... Order! If the Honourable Gentleman wishes to press his amendment, he is entitled to do so. Oh, yes, he is. Oh, yes, he is. I'll be the judge of that. Order. The House must calm itself. Zen. This matter, order. I'm not interested in people chuntering from a sedentary position to no obvious benefit or purpose. I'm ruling on the matter and I require no assistance in the process of doing so.
It's tempting to think there's a part of Bercow that maybe even enjoyed the mayhem. But today, a warning.
We degrade this Parliament at our peril.
Opposition Labour MPs gave him a standing ovation, a nod perhaps to his soft spot for the dissident minority. And from his former party, the governing Conservatives, a little less enthusiasm. Bercow departs October 31st, the very same day Britain is set to leave the EU. Quite a character. Okay, we are back in 2 minutes with Ian, plus developing news. Also, the crew trapped inside a capsized cargo ship is finally safe tonight. The dramatic rescue off the coast of Georgia. And a little later, Bianca Andreescu gets the superstar treatment south of the border. All that still ahead. Welcome back. Let's get you to our national newsroom in Vancouver, where Ian is following developing stories tonight.
And let's start with a story that's getting a lot of online reaction. An attack on a hockey referee and a coach at a youth hockey tournament caught on tape that has resulted in criminal charges. It happened in Lethbridge, Alberta. At the end of a game on Sunday, a 10-year-old player got into an argument with a referee. The player reportedly hit the ref twice with a stick, and the ref pushed the player to the ice. And then this happened. A relative of the 10-year-old and a group of coaches went after the referee. A coach from the opposing team allegedly pushed to the ice. The ref punched multiple times. The relative has been charged with assault, and a second man is being sought by police. British Airways has grounded nearly all of its flights today and tomorrow because of a pilot strike, and that will affect about 3,500 passengers trying to get from Canada to London. The airline says they can either get full refunds or rebook on later flights. Air Canada says it's added a bigger plane on its route from Toronto to Heathrow. And the man who was the voice of Jerome the giraffe on the beloved CBC children's program, The Friendly Giant, has died.
Hello, Rusty. Hello, Jerome. Well, it's certainly been a nice rainy day. I like rain, and I thought I'd just go out for a walk in the rain.
Rod Conybeare was also the voice of Rusty the Rooster. He began his career in radio, where he won numerous awards for his work. He was part of CBC Radio's The Rod and Charles Show. Conybeare died in Ontario last Thursday at the age of 89. More stories developing tonight in about 25 minutes.
Well, a frightening experience for 4 crew members stuck in a capsized ship has ended safely. Officials don't know exactly how the ship tipped over on Sunday, but fire and smoke increased the tension for rescuers in what was a race against time. Paul Hunter takes us through the drama at sea.
Woo! Yeah!
Like a scene out of a 70s disaster movie, somehow they got him out. Safety tonight for the final trapped crew member, making it all four now rescued from within the belly of that giant flipped cargo ship, found and extracted just like they do in the movies.
There was just a system of tapping where they would do 3 or 4 taps or more, and eventually they got tap backs.
After that, holes were drilled, contact was made, and the smile tells the rest. This man made his escape earlier.
Their condition is relatively good for having spent close to 34 or 35 hours in the conditions they are in.
Indeed, think about it. Trapped inside that, no food, no water, not knowing if they'd ever get out alive. And no one knows yet why any of this happened. On board, some 4,000 cars in transit from Georgia to Baltimore. The ship off the coast of Georgia overnight Saturday with its crew of mostly South Koreans and Filipinos for some reason tilted and then capsized. 20 crew members were quickly airlifted up and out, but fire prevented rescuers from getting to the final 4 on board, leading to the drama that played out today. And with all those aboard now rescued, investigators can step up their work figuring out what caused this. And that other task can now begin: how to get the ship upright and towed to shore. Meanwhile, for the U.S. Coast Guard and for that final crew member brought to safety tonight, a round of applause for a job well done. The last to be rescued was described as being super happy. All things considered, who wouldn't be? Paul Hunter, CBC News, Washington.
Time for a quick break, but when we come back, more from Rosie in battleground British Columbia. She'll go in-depth on a polarizing issue in that province, the politics of pipelines. Next. First, though, a look at a story you'll see here tomorrow night.
Death on the tracks.
You have a split second there, he's in front of you. And I remember getting up off my seat, slamming an emergency, screaming, no!
It's a devastating reality, and it's only getting worse. It's why Toronto's Transit Commission is taking the extraordinary step of talking about it.
Why is it so important to the TTC to be so open and to tackle this in such an open way, even giving us this kind of access?
Well, I guess not talking about it hasn't worked. You have to find a way to bring it up, to talk about it. People are well aware that suicide happens in the subway, so it's not a matter of it being news to people.
Breaking the silence about subway suicide. That's coming up on The National.
We're back in the BC riding of Burnaby North Seymour. The Liberal approach to pipelines will be put to the test in the coming election campaign here, like nowhere else. That's because the Trans Mountain expansion would go right through this riding, bringing potential risk to the land and the coastal waters. And Liberal MP Terry Beach has his work cut out for him. If there was ever an example of a candidate trying to prove you can, in fact, balance the environment and the economy, one of the Prime Minister's favorite catchphrases, it is undoubtedly Terry Beach. Elected in a riding that is the epicenter of the pipeline debate in this country. When Beach was elected here 4 years ago, the expansion of the Trans Mountain Pipeline was already contentious. But now, after one mandate, Beach finds himself not only having to defend the government's approval of the pipeline, but also its decision to purchase it outright. This in spite of the fact that Beach knows most of his riding is against the project, and he did his best to stop it from happening.
It's an interesting position to be in, right? To be one of 2 members of parliament that voted against a project and voted against your government. Not the first time that I voted against the party. I mean, at the end of the day, the Prime Minister wants us to represent the views of our constituents.
The original pipeline already runs right through the riding of Burnaby North Seymour, but this twinning of the pipeline would triple the capacity to 890,000 barrels of oil a day. It would mean 14 more storage tanks to hold the oil, more tankers to transport it, and some say increased risk for residents of Burnaby Mountain. John Clark lives just down the road from the tank farm now.
I'm a very independent citizen, and I have the misfortune of living very close to this tank farm. And it was not until I started doing research that I found just how dangerous living here really is.
There have been spills, the vast majority of them limited to small pumping stations, but there have been some significant ones too, like this major spill that took a year to clean up in Burnaby itself. Clark voted for Beach in 2015, but now...
I am very proud to be a Canadian, but I am not very proud right now when I see what our government is getting away with. I feel incredibly betrayed by the Liberal Party.
From the very beginning, the Prime Minister has tried to reassure people with those fears when the Liberals first approved the project back in 2016.
If I thought this project was unsafe for the BC coast, I would reject it. This is a decision based on rigorous debate, on science, and on evidence.
But turns out that was not enough. Parts of a vast consultation process were ordered redone by the Federal Court of Appeal. More meaningful dialogue with First Nations communities and more review of the potential impact on the marine environment of BC's Lower Mainland. That court challenge and the uncertainty around the project forced Kinder Morgan to walk away and the federal government to pony up $4.5 billion of taxpayer money to buy the project, to redo the consultations, then yes, to greenlight it once again.
We need to create wealth today so we can invest in the future.
Well, much has been done to try and deal with all the concerns, including meeting more than 150 conditions initially put in place by the National Energy Board and tens of millions of dollars to improve oil spill response times.
Right up there. We live right up there.
Those who live a little further up Burnaby Mountain in a residential development called Universe City, not far from the tank farm, with a single access point in and out, say they fear how they could safely get out if something were to happen.
The tank farm with all that stored oil is just a kilometer down the mountain. Some residences up here. Over here is the elementary school.
Carl Perrin and his wife, Ann Jarrell, are part of the now well-established protest movement against the pipeline, a cause they seem to have lost, but are unwilling to give up because they believe they have the majority on their side. Carl and Ann were fans of Terry Beach as a Liberal, but even his surprising move to vote against his own government was not enough to win them over.
Initially, I was very impressed because he showed up at all the meetings. He took voluminous notes and everything, but then he's just caved in on the issue, and I don't feel that he's representing us at all.
But Beach would argue he is, in fact, one of them. He grew up on this mountain, went to Simon Fraser University, still lives nearby.
This is where I used to live. So Ravi and I, when we got married, this was our first place, Kensington Gardens. And that sushi town was like my go-to spot. In fact, they were the first people that put a sign up in their business for me in the last election. And they were the first person to put a sign in their business for me this election.
Mostly, he says he has done his best to balance the concerns of his constituents with his responsibilities as an MP in government. In many ways, he embodies that tightrope walk the Liberals have been trying to maintain for 4 years. That balancing act is sometimes bolder than expected, and where Beach wants to go next might prove that.
So we're just in front of the gate. This is in front of the tank farm. We're on top of Burnaby Mountain. A lot of people come here. It was, on the news a lot to get arrested.
Camp Cloud is the name protesters gave to the temporary campsite at the gate of the tank farm, a site of many protests over the past 4 years, and at one point, a shantytown in place for 9 months that was eventually pulled down by police and resulted in arrests. Protesters can still make their way here, but their presence cannot be permanent. A short walk from there, Beach points out the watch station.
So this is the watch house. It doesn't appear like there's anybody here right now, but this was set up. This has been set up for the last couple of years. Right? You asked before, actually, in the car about whether or not there's tension. I'm sure there could be if people weren't being listened to. But I've been to so many protests, talking to everybody. It's been a while since I've heard of a new issue that has surprised me.
It's this attempt to listen and to reflect concerns that has kept some people here firmly on Beach's side.
We'll hit the trail, head down to the beach.
Rob Piefko lives at the end of the pipeline by the marine terminal where tanker traffic is expected to increase.
I will support Terry because he can actually do something. Being part of the government that's in power currently, then he can actually maybe call, for example, a resource minister or someone and say, look, the community is complaining about these kind of issues.
That is what Beach is counting on as he goes door to door with a slightly different message than the last time he campaigned. This time, it's on a record and a decision he didn't even support.
I don't know how everybody's going to vote, but I always want to vote for the person that shows up, does the job, does the hard work. There's a lot of people saying what they might do in the future, but we've been dealing with this for 4 years, and I'm really proud of my record in representing our community.
Hi, my name is Heather. I'm a volunteer with Terry Beach. How are you today?
The challenge, of course, is not just getting himself re-elected, but getting the community to believe the Liberal Party also represents this riding. That efforts to fight climate change, to transition the country away from fossil fuels and to green technology can somehow coexist with a government that also approved and purchased a pipeline. There will be other parts of the country that will wrestle with this question as they consider who to vote for, but perhaps nowhere more than right here. And we are here in North Vancouver tonight, but just next door, Vancouver is one of Canada's greenest cities. Mayor Kennedy Stewart is so passionate about the pipeline expansion, that very one we're talking about, that last year he got arrested for protesting it. But as they say, politics makes strange bedfellows. I spoke to him earlier today about pipelines, politics, and how his views now line up. Listen, I want to start with the pipeline because you were, before becoming mayor of Vancouver, the MP for Burnaby South. Yep. You know this debate, and you're continuing to take it up now. How critical do you think that conversation, that debate is during the federal election?
Yeah, I think people in Vancouver have made up their mind, with the vast majority opposed to the pipeline because they know it's not really any benefit to us. I personally don't think it's ever going to get built, but you know.
Why do you say that?
Oh, because it goes through 80 First Nations territories. It only takes really one to have a successful court case to stop it. We've got 6 now being heard in federal court. The city was involved in the federal Court of Appeal case. You know, it's too bad we had to go to all these lengths.
You went so far as to get arrested. You protested and were arrested. So that's, you don't think that the government has made a convincing argument about needing this for the economy, for the national interest of Canada? You say, you know, Vancouver wouldn't get anything out of it, but the country would.
Yeah, and I think that when you're dealing with potential oil spills in your backyard, then I mean you're going to fight back against it. And again, I think the vast majority of Vancouverites have made up their mind on this. So when they're going through this federal election, they know where folks are standing on that. The parties, they're going to look to other issues like housing, like overdose crisis here, and transportation.
Okay, so let's talk about some of those other issues, because you did meet with the Prime Minister. I know you'll probably meet with anyone that wants to meet with you. What about the opioid crisis? You have talked about the downtown east side being the worst you've ever seen.
It is.
And you are looking for some sort of federal health exemption for drugs there.
That's right. The population here is gripped with this problem. We have 1 person dying a day. It's really where fentanyl hit first in the country, and so we know what works, what doesn't work. The feds have been helpful in terms of stopping overdose deaths, but now we have to move to a safe supply, really to get rid of the poisoned illicit drug supply that we have. And when 80% of your drugs are laced with fentanyl, like, you're playing Russian roulette. You inject, you're alive, inject, you're dead.
Go back to housing. Obviously not the only place in the country that it's a big issue. There have been some investments made. What still needs to be done here?
Well, it's all about rental housing here, and I was a bit skeptical about the national housing strategy, and the purchasing part of it isn't really working here, but the loans for our rental housing is working.
Is it weird for you to be, you know where this is going, to be the mayor of Vancouver when you were just, 2 minutes ago an MP for the NDP?
Yeah, it is weird, but I'm really enjoying it. I do think it's nice to have specific problems to solve, and what I'm trying to do is build as many partnerships as I can, so that's why I want to meet with all federal leaders.
So your vote's not baked in, even for you?
I don't think the leaders really care about my vote. I think they care about Vancouver votes, and if you're going to win in this city, it's housing, it's overdose, it's transportation. I feel like we're starting to land things here, but I need more, and I'm not going to stop until we get it.
Understood. Thanks for your time. Appreciate it very much. Tomorrow we'll have more coverage from Battleground BC because frankly, why would I want to leave this place? Many seats are in play across the province, but we're going to focus on a place where the NDP are fighting the Greens.
I think more and more people are voting with their conscience. They're voting for what they want. And like I was saying with the seniors.
That's the Green Party's second elected MP, and his party is keen to add to that tally, especially on Vancouver Island, where to some the environment is practically sacred. This will be ground zero as the Greens try to keep momentum, keep growing, and the NDP, well, it just tries to hang on. We'll set up that battle for you. And we'll be right back with another issue that is proving to be quite divisive. Quebec's controversial law that bans some people from wearing religious symbols at work. We're going to take a closer look at what the federal leaders are saying or not saying about that next. Welcome back to the beautiful BC coast. Next week, though, we'll be in another battleground province, Quebec. This week, a newly hired teacher at a Montreal school was told to remove her hijab if she wants to teach. As Salima Shivji reports, it's all about a new Quebec law that federal leaders don't seem to want to talk about.
Fareen Ahmed is one of the lucky ones. Years at this school mean her right to teach while wearing her hijab is protected. Even so, she and other teachers feel targeted.
Like, people are looking at them differently, even though they are grandfathered in. There were a group of parents who wrote a letter saying that they want the right to pull their kids out of their classes. That can't make anybody feel good.
There have been loud protests. There's a new anti-Bill 21 campaign complete with merchandise. There's also a legal challenge. But from the federal political parties on the eve of an election, there's been precious little.
As a minority, we already have enough working against us, but our government is supposed to be there to stand up for us, and that's not happening.
The problem, the law is popular, and Quebec is once again a battleground. All of the federal leaders say they don't agree with the law, but quietly. That's on purpose.
Mon identité, c'est ma fierté.
Even the NDP's Jagmeet Singh hints at it, but doesn't mention the law specifically in his new ad to woo Quebecers. It's politically dangerous, especially for the ruling Liberals.
They need to win seats in the rural regions of the province of Quebec. This is prime territory for Bill 21 support, which is basically just all the white, all francophone voters.
It also highlights a shift for Justin Trudeau after 4 years in power. Back in 2015, he was forceful.
In Canada, we protect minority rights.
But defending the niqab sunk the NDP's Tom Mulcair. And so there's more caution for the now incumbent Prime Minister fighting to be re-elected. He says Canadians know where he stands.
We do not feel that it is a government's responsibility or in a government's interest to legislate on what people should be wearing.
He just doesn't want to remind Quebecers of that too much. Salima Shivji, CBC News, Ottawa.
Quebec, of course, could also be key to any party looking to win on October 21st. So many interesting storylines in that province. So we will go in depth on the stakes, the strategy, what might happen to the NDP, the Bloc, the National from Quebec 1 week from tonight. Andrew.
Okay, Rosie. And Ian is back in 2 minutes with more developing news from around the world. And later, what awaits Bianca Andreescu when she returns to Canada? The plan to celebrate Canada's champion still ahead on The National.
Welcome back to our national newsroom in Vancouver. American authorities have opened a criminal investigation into the fiery boat disaster that killed 34 people off the coast of California last week. Federal agents have spent the last 2 days looking through the offices of the boat's owners in Santa Barbara and conducting searches on the company's 2 remaining vessels. The investigation is reportedly looking at possible safety lapses and inadequate training for crew members. It is Tuesday in Japan, where cleanup is underway following a deadly typhoon. The storm made landfall just east of Tokyo in Chiba. Wind gusts reached 207 kilometers an hour, the strongest ever recorded there. Local media reporting at least 3 people were killed and dozens were hurt. And the U.S. Food and Drug Administration is facing more pressure tonight to take action on flavored e-cigarettes.
Can one really say with a straight face that e-cigarette flavors like gummy bear, citrazine, surf cake, and unicorn milk are meant for 50-year-old chain smokers to stop smoking cigarettes?
That is Illinois Senator Dick Durbin calling on the FDA to ban flavoring and restrict marketing aimed at kids. The American Medical Association is going one step further, urging everyone to stop using e-cigarettes, at least until health officials figure out what's causing severe lung illness across the country. Still ahead tonight, from center court to center stage on American Morning TV, how Bianca Andreescu's championship tour is in full swing. Back in 2 minutes.
Take a moment and think about Bianca Andreescu's wild ride. Canadian tennis superstar wins the U.S. Open on Saturday, then today gets the superstar treatment, a full-blown celebrity down south. It has been a whirlwind, and CBC Sports' Devin Haru has been following Bianca's every step.
Bianca Andreescu beaming. Her U.S. Open Championship tour is in full swing. This morning on ABC's Live with Kelly and Ryan, showing off her prized possession.
Every trophy that goes on this table stays on this table.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I kind of want to keep this bad boy, though.
Then it was off to the Today Show.
Oh, I'm never going to get tired of holding this thing. This is my new baby.
One last stop at Good Morning America.
I think at that point, I was just in awe of everything.
She has climbed the ladder as fast as anyone.
The celebrations will continue for Andreescu when she returns to her hometown of Mississauga this week. The mayor has already promised her the key to the city.
We're talking about rallies and parades and street namings, any kind of fitting tribute that we can think of.
What a difference a year makes. Andreescu didn't even qualify for the U.S. Open last season.
She'll be really disappointed.
Ranked 152nd in the world.
Astounding.
Climbing all the way to 5th.
And control.
Something her former coach always knew was possible.
Not so surprised, the more of so proud she pulled this out.
Lanyell Gallup was Andreescu's coach for 2 seasons and knew all those years ago she had what it took to be a champion.
I see her change and become more mature, and that's very special to me.
19 years old, on top of the world.
I always say dream big to get big, and I've been like that ever since I was a little kid.
And just getting started. Devin Haru, CBC News, Toronto.
Wild ride indeed. Okay, we will be right back with tonight's moment because you know what they say about rain on your wedding day, but how about a hurricane? Well, of all the things that could go wrong on your wedding day, you generally don't plan for a hurricane to be one of them. And so Dorian did manage to catch a couple in Nova Scotia off guard, but they still managed to make the most of their big day, and that is tonight's moment.
I mean, it was so many months of planning. The last thing on our mind was the weather. The week before, we started catching wind of her, no pun intended, of Dorian. We were moving it inside off to the very last minute. We had it planned for my parents' backyard, and they spent the last 6 months doing gardens. Like, it was absolutely beautiful. And to move it inside was the last thing we wanted to do. We still managed to get some photos done outside. Pretty blustery in that. Yeah. We ruined quite a few umbrellas in that, and our poor photographer was absolutely drenched at the end of it. A couple of the bridesmaids' hair might have got a little bit ruined. We had a great time, but even our photographer came to us and said how much fun he had. Yeah. So, for everybody to have that much fun and a good laugh and a good time, that meant the world to us. Not too many people could say they got married during a hurricane.
I don't know, I sort of love that. And I sort of love the photos because they tell a whole story that's not just your average wedding. I'm into it. I like that they salvaged their day.
Look, I'm sure we've all had, and I don't mean our weddings, but we've all had firsthand experience with how even under perfect conditions, weddings can be so anxiety-inducing, so they are remarkable.
Yeah, no, any surprise for which you can keep your cool, I believe on a wedding night especially, ends up improving the night ultimately. And hey, maybe that's just true in life. generally. That's the National for the September 9th. Have a good night.
Night.